This is a Headgum podcast.
Picture this. You're a top-ranked high school quarterback, and you are drowning in it. You are getting all the gals. Everybody loves you. Well, most people love you. And to make matters even more insane for you, you get to go on a television show. They come to your house and they offer you a television show about high school quarterbacks.
Hi, I'm LeBron James. I'm going to executive produce this show.
LeBron, what are you doing in my house, man? I'm trying to have dinner.
I want to make you...
I'm a top high school quarterback, LeBron.
Spencer.
Is that LeBron James at our door again?
Yeah, it is.
Mr. Rattler, I'm here to court your son for my TV show.
It's dinner time, sir.
We got to eat our spaghetti and drink milk with it. I'm a high school quarterback, LeBron James. LeBron, is it?
Yeah, it's LeBron.
What do you want?
You know who would never show up at our house during dinner? Michael Jordan.
Or
I'm just
Kobe.
going to say it.
Kobe
Or
would never show up at our house during
Probably
dinner.
not even Magic.
I'm here on my knees begging your child to come and be on my show. It's about...
I'm also on my knees, a high school student, for a different reason.
It's dinner time, and she's also gobbling something.
I've heard you're...
Feel free
Drowning
to
in
come
it.
and blow my son anytime, but not during dinner.
Spencer, I am begging you to be on my show. It's about highly recruited high school quarterbacks that are going to make it in big college programs and maybe go on to the pros. We want to feature you, my man.
Oh, I'm going to the pros. Don't even say it like that. I'm going to the pros. I'm going to be a zero draft pick. I'm going to be Roger Goodell. I'm going to be the commissioner on draft day.
That's right. Player commissioner.
Yeah. Don't talk to me like that, LeBron.
Sorry,
Can I call you LeBum?
You can if you'll be on the show.
Throw a snake
I
at him.
need this.
Throw a rattler at him. We keep rattlers in this house.
It's my dad's business. Rattlers.
You have about 8 minutes. Make them count.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm sweating real bad. Look, I need this. I'm not doing so good money-wise.
All right, LeBron. I guess I'll come on your show, but it better not. I'm gonna have my real personality on the show, and it better not affect me in any negative way.
Sure, I'm begging you, but you don't get Final Cut.
I don't get final cut. I don't get editing privileges.
What about merch?
Merch? Oh, yeah.
In the Rattler household, we get 50% of merch.
You got it.
What channel is
The
this gonna be
Nicholson
on?
Batman deal.
Yep, that's exactly the deal we're talking about. What channel is it on?
Netflix.
Netflix.
Whoa.
It's on
What
Netflix.
year is this? 2018.
Somewhere around there.
All right, yeah, Netflix.
Is it going to be on after BoJack?
It's going to be right on after BoJack.
We love BoJack.
You got a BoJack
Horseman
lead in.
this household.
And let me ask you something, LeBron. How much money are y'all gonna pay Monique for a stand-up special?
Yeah, great question.
Because I'm assuming you work at Netflix. I frankly, I'm not really familiar with who you are.
In the Rattler household, we care about equity of stand-up payments across gender and
Yeah.
race.
Because I know you're gonna give Chris Rock $50 million. So Monique's got to be somewhere in there.
About $100,000.
All right, fair enough.
Close enough, yeah.
Let me know when I need to prepare. This is my senior season, and I am a top quarterback. Have I mentioned that?
Yeah.
So top that I don't know who you are.
That's why
LeBron?
that's why I'm here. I'm going to be directing you. Well, I'll be at practice tomorrow.
All right, great. And so you go to that practice, and you really show yourself in your true colors in the whole season of this show. And then you go on to college at University of Oklahoma, and then you transfer to South Carolina because the name is Gamecock. And that's what they called you in high school. The Gamecock. And then the NFL draft comes. And 6 quarterbacks go in the first 2 rounds or one
First round, first 12 picks.
First 12 picks.
First
Wow.
12 picks. So you got to, well, okay, let's think about this for a second. All right, listen. I know I wasn't going to go ahead of Caleb Williams. He paints his nails, and they're pushing that agenda this year. The NFL is really pushing that agenda.
It's the agenda.
So- They're really
It was the
pushing
agenda.
It was the agenda.
I'm your agent, Spencer. Don't worry about that. That's just that liberal agenda.
That's
They're
all
pushing.
that's what they're
Nothing.
pushing.
It's not a reflection on you and your abilities at all.
Great.
You are QB1.
Okay. All right, number 2. Wait a minute.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. They're pushing that agenda. That's all that BLM shit.
Drake May.
Drake May. They're pushing that agenda. That conservative bullshit agenda.
JJ
Yeah, if you
McCarthy.
go lean too far one way, you got to make up for it the other
Yeah,
way. Yeah.
Wait, you skipped one.
JJ McCarthy.
Nah, didn't he go after?
Yeah, after Drake May.
After Drake May? Oh, and then is okay. JJ McCarthy.
No. Michael
Mike-
Penix.
Michael
Oh,
Penix Jr.
of course. Michael
That's
Penix.
That's his name.
The original agenda. The original one, the Caleb Williams agenda. That one's back.
Yeah, we're back.
to
Now
it
we swung back the other way.
Swung back the other way.
Now, my apologies for messing up before, but now JJ McCarthy.
That what agenda is this? It's an agenda. That Michigan football agenda. That
Bonus.
Harbaugh.
Oh yeah, they're trying. They're trying to get blue state shit. You know?
Yeah. That's what it is.
It's a swing
an election
state.
year.
It's a swing state.
It's an election year.
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix.
What the fuck?
That dude was 37 years old.
Dozens of other non-quarterbacks.
Oh,
Right. It's been about 112 picks now
they're
since
pushing
the
this
last
other
quarterback.
agenda, this other position agenda. All right. Finally. All right. Who's up next? At pick 137, I think, or 150.
Spencer, the Gamecock Rattler.
Finally. To what team?
The New Orleans Saints.
What? The best team in the NFL?
Yeah.
Greatest franchise in the history of the league? The best uniforms?
They do have the best uniforms.
I would say so myself. I guess that LeBron James show did affect me. And from now on, I will never support LeBron James.
But it got you here to this franchise. This was the road it was always supposed to be.
You're fired.
Oh, no.
Why?
I represent Monique. I need
Why?
I need these commissions.
Because it's Monique Day.
Destined to be Monique Day the whole time, never in doubt.
Yeah, I threw you for a loop at the end.
I think you're gonna go because it's Gamecock Day,
I was gonna say that,
but then something better presented itself,
yeah.
and that's what improv's all about.
It's Gamecock / Monique Day. Uh-oh, that's gonna get us in trouble.
I don't think it will.
Nah.
She might not listen.
Welcome back to Foosball, Scott.
I don't need
Welcome back.
Maybe I don't need to be dressed down by Monique.
She'll probably take a week off from listening, maybe.
Are you confused by that intro?
I caught up to it.
Yeah.
I tried. You said do something, so I tried, but then I was like, I did a wrong thing.
No, you didn't.
you heard
Great.
the best
Yeah,
line in the whole thing.
It was perfect.
Okay.
Sniper, the sniper.
The sniper.
We're joined by
I
a
liked it.
sniper,
But I was like, was that a real pick this year?
Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was, right?
he fell
I started to
pretty
catch up to
far.
the.
Yeah.
He fell very far.
In
So
a-
I took that.
In a draft where quarterbacks were valued more than they've ever been before,
Right.
many
Yeah.
would argue to an insane degree, he fell very
It
far.
was
Yeah.
a wild draft.
I know it bodes poorly for me that it took me a second to pick up on that, but I had my kids this weekend and
Totally fair.
Take him to the
Behind on
draft.
the draft.
Kids love watching the
Yeah,
NFL
fly him out to
draft.
Detroit.
it's true.
You can get some Detroit-style
Famously,
pizza.
7-year-old girls.
7-year-old
Super
girls love
love.
the
You
draft.
can hear a local band sing "Celebrate Good Times" by Kool and the Gang. And,
It's pretty cool.
Party in the USA.
7-year-olds
That
love Kool and the
playlist
Gang.
doesn't change. Like,
Oh,
if
no,
you
it's the
ever
same
can hear
thing.
that music that band is over there playing, it's always like, "Ooh, I want the time of my life." But they're playing it live.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, they're always wrapping up "Happy" by Pharrell.
yeah. Greg, introduce our guest.
We are joined. You may have already heard a strange voice, guys. That voice is Rachna Fruchbom,
Hello.
comedy writer extraordinaire, former host of a great sports podcast called Hall of Shame on our rival podcasting
Fun.
network, who we can't legally mention their
Sure.
name of, but let's just say they're a little crooked. I went too far, and I feel like it's going to be obvious.
You know, we have a connection with that show.
Hall of Shame.
Yes.
Rachel.
Yes, but I auditioned 3 times to be
Oh.
that seat with Rachel.
So I also auditioned 3 times.
Yeah.
This is wild.
It must have came down to us.
I think I was told it came down to me and someone else.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at that.
This is
radio.
No, it's gonna get dicey.
Yeah. They're pushing that agenda.
It was totally
And today
that
we are pushing that
agenda.
agenda too because you are making history. And not to any fault of our own.
Yeah.
but
Definitely
you
not our
are-
fault.
Definitely not our fault, the people who booked the guests. But you are the first woman on the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Exciting.
Ring
I'm
the alarm.
honored.
Ring the alarm, Kevin. Kevin, insert here. Just Beyonce.
I
going,
really
ring
have
the
to-
alarm. Just one time.
No, yeah, a lot of it was we were waiting for some legal stuff that Kevin had going on to wrap up, and he couldn't really be in the room with any women.
Sure.
But once he got cleared, he
Yeah.
lost his spot in the league. Then he went over and played in China and then played a little bit in Mexico. But now he's back because everything's cleared up.
Great. And I can be here.
Yes.
And you can be
That's
here.
excellent.
And it was great news for his wedding too.
We
'cause
probably
it was-
should have told you about this before we asked.
No,
This
it's
is-
better I didn't know. I like finding out in the moment.
Yeah, you can't tell a prospective guest that you've never been with a woman. It's kind of a turn off. You kind of just have to apologize once it's happening.
I like to, whenever I'm on a podcast, I just want to know that everyone's not a virgin. That's sort of.
All right. So we've never had this conversation, boys.
in our zone of friends, it is very hard to find women who are football fans. It's hard to find men who are football fans amongst these comedy nerds.
Truly.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah, we have a lot of people on who don't. Well, not a lot of people. We've had a few people who are like barely followers.
Struggling. Yeah.
And they use the excuse like, oh, once they started kneeling, I was out.
Yeah, we have a lot of anti-Kaepernick people on.
Oh, then I will fit right in.
But you are here to talk about all things football with us, but you do have an allegiance to a specific team.
I do. I'm a giant, diehard Cleveland Browns fan.
Wow.
All right.
That is tough
I grew up,
these days.
as I've mentioned, I did grow up in Ohio. A lot of my friends and family are Browns fans. It's a tough life.
It's a tough life. My dad, I think the way he's from India, or he's from Africa actually, but Indian. And I think the way he assimilated when he moved to Cleveland was through sports, because sports is pretty universal. And Cleveland Browns, like, it's the first team. We then grew up also Indians/Guardians fans and Cavs fans, but Browns is like, that's all there is in the winter.
It's more of a football city than it is other stuff.
It especially then,
Yeah.
like coming off the Cardiac Kids and like Bernie Kosar in the 80s, it was like first and foremost a football town.
I think all the towns around there,
The Steel Belt.
Pittsburgh is definitely a football
Yeah.
first town. I think I think Detroit, has some fun with a lot of their teams, but I think most of those fans would go 162 for the Tigers, 0-82 for the Pistons.
Which they almost did the Pistons. So they
Pistons
got
almost hit that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the towns around the Midwest, if they are either football first towns or would be if their team was any good.
Yeah.
That's what I've been trying to articulate.
I think so. Yeah.
So you start watching the Browns before they go away.
Yeah. So like the team that like I most watched, it was like Bernie Kosar, Webster Slaughter, Ernest
2
Tyler.
weeks in a row with a Webster Slaughter.
Yeah.
Webster Slaughter's been coming up a lot
Yeah.
lately.
Or 2 out of 3 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, it was like a solid team, like Kevin Mack.
Ooh, see? You've stomped on it.
Yeah,
know,
guys.
You've stumped the foosball.
But I'm a little older than the foosballers, so that's why. So it was a little, and then when they left, it was like dark. And I think that actually did allow people to get, I mean, it's not like people also weren't Cavs and Indians, Guardians fans, but Browns is first and foremost. But then they left us.
Art Modell was a hated person.
Hated.
Is hated to this day.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
It was what, 3-4 years? without
Yeah.
The Browns?
In like the mid-90s.
And this is the real, we were good. We were peaking, and truly he took them to Baltimore, and the next year they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Quick.
That was
was-
some rough shit.
It was a weird era of
Because that was Belichick
yeah.
coaching.
Yeah.
New teams were winning titles back then.
Yeah.
The Marlins and
Yeah.
Diamondbacks both won pretty immediately in the first 10 years. The Marlins had 2
Now the
titles.
Marlins also beat the Indians
In
in
the
Game
World-
7
yes.
when we had like our best closer.
1997.
The best closer in football.
Jose
baseball.
Mesa, yeah.
Was sad.
Wait, Okay. Did Modell have anything to do with moving the Baltimore Colts to Indianapolis too?
Oh, great. I don't
think
so. Maybe.
He's probably beloved in Baltimore. I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brought the team back.
It was
They-
also like the whole middle of the night thing.
yeah.
Yeah, he did Cleveland so dirty.
Yeah.
Y'all knew that it was gonna be the last year.
It was very last minute that it was the last year.
I remember it being
Yes,
very
yes.
shocking.
It happened before then we had one more season in Cleveland.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
then
Yes,
we
I
took
remember
them. Yeah.
the images of like the last
Yes.
game at the Browns.
Yes.
Stadium.
We had a
Yeah.
whole season, I feel like, knowing.
People were like ripping up seats and
Yeah.
stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. Cleveland fans are classy like that.
Also, here's another thing I'll say about the history of the Browns, which is that they're known as one of these like winless sort of franchises. But it's kind of not completely their fault that the Super Bowl era is how we define that. Because the
Yeah.
Browns won a ton of championships.
They won
pre-Super
2
Bowl.
back-to-back right before the first NFL Super Bowl
So, like,
year.
if Lamar Hunt's kid had been playing with a Super Bowl or whatever a few years earlier
Yeah.
and had that idea in 1963 instead of 67
Yeah.
or whatever, the Browns,
Would have a couple of rings.
Yeah, would have a
We
couple
would be one
rings.
of the storied franchises.
they'd
I
be like,
think.
the Packers won the first 2, and
Yeah.
instead it would be like the Browns won the
Yeah.
first 2, and Otto Graham would be Bart Starr or whatever.
That's true.
Changes everything. Yeah.
I'm writing a Man in the High Castle
Oh,
style
yeah, like a-
alternative history
Alternate
show.
history. By the way, the alternate history of Cleveland, if that was moved up, it's a different town.
You
The
think?
vibes are
Yeah.
different. I think.
When the Cavs won in 2016, I feel like Cleveland fans are like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm so excited, but immediately, but this is not my brand.
Yeah.
And then
But don't worry, we haven't won since.
LeBron left.
None of
So
you.
in this movie, LeBron would stay.
I think so. I
Yeah,
think
You
would
would've never
like
left.
Jordan.
In this movie, Cleveland's such like an awesome town. It's New York. Like, it's such an awesome town to live in that nobody wants to
Yeah, they've got like
leave.
flying
They-
cars. Like
they-
they've
Yeah.
like, technology's advanced a ton.
Silicon Valley is
Yeah.
now in the Ohio Valley.
But they stopped producing creatives because there's not enough strife. So, like, you never moved to Hollywood. Kid
Oh,
Cudi
that's
becomes
true.
a barber or
This is
something.
a
Yeah,
great
Drew
point.
Carey
Yeah.
doing nothing.
Drew Carey
Yeah.
becomes a barber. there's a rich barbery culture.
Yeah.
Kid Cudi spells his name Kidcutty.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. That's
Oh,
probably subconsciously why I said
Yeah.
barber. Kid Cudi.
So I like Cleveland. My college roommate, shout out to Jamal Marshall, is from Cleveland,
Okay.
Mississippi
Where are you from?
originally.
Okay.
And I grew up here in LA.
But then
So-
played some college hoops in Ohio.
Cleveland. Yeah.
That was in Cleveland?
No, why did I say that? In Wilberforce, Ohio,
Okay.
which is
is-
down by Dayton.
Okay.
You ever heard of Xenia? Where
Yeah.
the 1974 earthquake.
Oh,
Or tornado was. I'm
Yeah,
tripping.
Xenia.
Wow, this Coke Zero
Get
got
some-
me. Blinking.
You're cut off,
Yeah,
bud.
I gotta stop. It's down by Xenia. You seen Gummo?
Yeah.
Is that where Gummo takes place?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Gummo
I can't
is-
get through it.
Some dark shit. I
Yeah.
was like, oh no.
It's like what happened. That town was weird, but they had this.
Yeah.
They're known for like having this big tornado in 1974.
Yeah.
I went to college a little bit outside of that, in the middle of a cornfield,
Oh.
and my roommate was from Cleveland. That's where I grew to hate Ohio State fans.
Sure.
Are you Ohio State?
I am. But
Yeah.
I understand. First of all, the fact that it's the Ohio State is so annoying, right?
I think that's kind of tight.
They were the first ones to do it.
Yeah.
So
They get to keep it.
they get to keep it. Everyone was doing it at the draft. Anytime like an old player would come out to introduce, they'd be like,
The Ohio
the 50th pick of the 2024 NFL draft, the Jacksonville
No.
Jaguars select.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Well, I just
No,
remember
not
when they would. I mean, they still do it, I guess, on like Monday Night Football.
The Ohio
The Ohio State
yeah.
guys would always like really hit the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The-
They do.
Mike
That's why I
Vrabel?
thought you might be annoyed by it.
no,
I feel like it's a
actually
thing
like that
people
part.
have told me is annoying to them.
You know what was annoying to me? I hadn't really interacted with their fans before I went to college. there.
Sure.
But before that, of course, the what game did they win was it the Miami?
Miami,
Yeah,
overtime.
and I was like,
Maurice
no,
Lorette.
interference.
done with this team because I was all about that. I was all
I was
about the
at
U.
that game.
All about the U.
Whoa, you were? Holy
That's
shit!
Yeah,
good.
that's a big one. Yeah.
What
That's
was
shut-
that experience like?
Wild.
Yeah.
I went with a friend who's a University
Yeah.
of Miami fan.
Kane.
Kane. Yeah, I loved because I loved them from NCAA 2003.
Sure.
They were fun, man.
They
Well,
were
then-
fun.
That team was. Did you watch that 30 for 30?
Oh my God.
It was so
that's
good.
that's
Miami
probably my
U.
most watched one.
That one is so good.
It's still burned into my brain about like where I grew up. You were either blood, a Crip, or a Kane.
Yeah,
It's like one of the
Yeah.
coolest lines in a
Yeah.
30 for
Yeah.
30.
Right.
That game had still the crazy play that I think about all the time, where Craig Renzel throws a ball, gets picked off by Sean Taylor, rest in peace, and he's running it back, and Maurice Claret
Yes.
hits him and knocks the ball out. It also had, I believe, the Willis McGahee knee
Yes,
injury, which
it
is
did.
gruesome.
Horrendous.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then will always like set me down that YouTube rabbit hole of like Joe Theismann, Marshawn Lattimore, of all the like horrible knee
Can't get enough
injuries.
once you see one.
Yeah.
I got to get all the way up to
Once you pop, you can't stop.
Yeah.
until Nick Chubb. I don't like that one.
That one's
So it's on my
terrible.
fantasy
No.
team. That was the one where they're like, we're not even going to show this on TV.
Yeah, it was bad.
That was the one where you were like, I thought we might. No.
Y'all were good this year. It was a good year for the Cleveland.
Was it fun? Like, was it fun? From,
It
like,
was so fun,
Yeah.
I have to admit. And because Deshaun was injured, you didn't even have like
You have to root for him.
you didn't have like that struggle of, am I going to root for this rapist?
Yeah.
We
Am I
As-
allowed to calm that? That's not fair.
He technically
What's the-
didn't
yeah.
rape anybody, but it was
Assaulter?
predator.
We are
Assaulter.
big time
Predator.
defenders here.
Yeah, no. And also,
No.
I don't know if he did
No,
or didn't.
as soon as I said it, I was like, that's not fair.
well, I remember as a Steelers
Yeah.
fan, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And the funny thing for us
Correct.
was like,
Roethlisberger.
the funny thing for us was like, what? Then finally, when Roethlisberger, the one time that we were good during the Roethlisberger era, and it wasn't him at quarterback, it was Michael Vick, which is obviously much better than Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny that was like the
Yeah.
substitute of like, oh yeah, the guy who did go to prison for a thing.
And all
Well,
those-
we have a thing like that now too
Oh, who's
with
that?
our two quarterbacks.
Oh, because Flacco
Yeah.
cooks cats.
No.
Oh, hold on.
Flacco.
Is Flacco?
Allegedly.
Is he a closet Alf?
He's
Yeah.
a cat cooker. He's an Alf guy.
No, with who?
Because of oh my gosh, you guys.
Brissett?
You just texted me about him, and my brain is already broken.
Oh no, Watson.
What?
He went.
Not Deshaun Watson, but who's the quarterback from Florida?
James Winston?
Jameis Winston. No, yes, it's not.
Wait, is he on the
guys.
Browns now?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Oh
We
right,
lost-
yeah.
Yeah,
And
sorry.
he had.
I
A,
was
it
like,
can't
am
be
I
him. He
having
didn't
a
do nothing.
stroke? No.
he had a.
Jameis
an
Winston had a
accusation at
thing,
Florida
an
State,
accusation too,
yeah.
and I was like,
Oh.
guys, is this what we're doing?
He ain't do it.
Yeah, you got to believe one of them's in.
I would just love to have like zero accusations.
Yeah.
I know. And then Watson went to Saudi Arabia and hung out with the.
Yes, that's what you texted me up. In my
That's what I
brain, I
texted you.
conflated that with Jameis Winston because I had also just read about him.
No, but
Just
Winston.
a couple of crab legs. Who
in the
cares?
back.
Yeah, that's what everybody's mad about. 'Cause he stole crab legs. Those should be free.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Everything in
that
the
what
ocean should be
Winston
free.
did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't Cam Newton get
Sure.
kicked out of Florida for stealing a laptop
Stealing
or
a
something?
laptop, yeah,
Yeah.
and selling it.
And then won a
They
natty
should have
and a
paid those
Heisman.
athletes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't find that bad. It's the assault stuff I find bad.
Yeah, that's a little
Stealing a
troubling.
laptop.
Who cares?
whatever.
We can look into that Jameis one. 'Cause I feel like it was a little bit of
Maybe that one
that one was a little bit shaky.
Okay.
I think.
Good.
I
I
mean, he
hope.
was still the number
Yeah.
one pick, and we already knew what happened. So.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
It was
just-
certainly wasn't 60 women or whatever
No.
Deshaun was
Nah,
accused
it
of.
wasn't. Humping the
I
air on some
also
freak
loved
boy
Baker.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The Deshaun
Anytime
thing
we
about,
talk about the particulars.
Yeah.
we have to mention the fact that he allegedly ejaculated while making no physical
friction.
contact.
Yeah. That's impressive.
Yeah, he just kind of thrust it up in the air.
Yeah.
Just like held it, and that was enough.
When I heard it,
Wow.
I said, "What?"
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Could never, it's never happened to me.
So, what is your history? What do you remember? Like your first game you went to?
Yeah, I mean, I went. It was like 40 degrees in November,
Damn.
and it was cool. It was like I remember watching, the Dog Pound and being like, I want to be there, but I'm too scared.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make it. But it was so.
It was
awesome.
an intense thing.
Going with my dad. Yeah, I feel like I'm glad my first game was freezing because that's like to me what it
More of an
is.
experience.
Yeah.
Were you like already kind of into it before your first game? So you were
Yes.
like looking forward to it? Or was
Yes.
that the thing that got you hooked?
No,
So you were already into
I
it.
was already into it. It's
Okay.
I feel like in the time I grew up in Cleveland, like I have girlfriends who are like, I'm not a huge football fan and are bigger football fans than like half the dudes I meet here.
Oh, really?
Or not to be
Yeah.
gendered.
It
but
is. No.
it's so huge that it's like in your, like my mom doesn't care and yet she knows who's won and who, like it's
This is
just in the air.
what I try to tell people.
Yeah.
I was like, my mom and like aunts and some of my cousins couldn't give a shit about football, but they know
Yeah.
if Ohio State won that week. Like they have probably
They know what a
watched
first
7
down is. They know the rules. Like they know what things are worth.
1,000%. I know like people in Kansas City, like even just like the most like alternative theatery people,
Yeah.
like just like live at fringe festivals year round. Like know everything that's like it's like oh yeah no the Chiefs went 11-6 but yeah they managed to go win the Super Bowl from the 3 seed.
I was talking
Yeah,
to the
they're
guy
like,
who
oh,
does
Christian Okoye, the Nigerian Nightmare. Yeah, I know him.
Yeah,
yeah, the guy who
was the Chiefs
does
to go see season record.
does Reiki for my dog was saying they got to give Pacheco more touches in the first quarter. They're gonna establish a physical run game early on.
So it's like,
go ahead. Sorry.
no, it's just like, I feel like you're just a fan by osmosis.
Yeah,
That's tight.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I respect
It's cultural.
that. I respect that. I feel like that's what the Saints do. And, especially when a team, like, that's what taught me to root for the underdog.
Yeah.
Like, it taught me to be like, it's why I came here and became a Clipper fan. Like, I technically have been here long enough to be a Laker fan and nobody called me a bandwagon or anything like that.
Right.
But I watched all of Kobe's championships. Like, I was here to watch all, but I wanted to root for the other guys. I'm like, this is what builds a culture.
That's it. Because Lakers fans, like, they're not good, and then they're like, bye. I gotta go surf.
I gotta go do other
I can
things.
do anything.
Yeah.
I can go to the mountains.
Probably gonna go to the World Series this year with the Dodgers. I could just do
I
that.
could just do that instead.
I do that.
I could jump on the Clippers.
Yeah.
My kids, their dad grew up in Southern California, so is a lifelong Lakers fan, and they are. And I feel like you have to be a Browns fan then.
That's the payoff. That's
Yeah.
traded.
And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
But
You gotta experience some hardship in sports. You have to.
And my son was like, why would I root for teams that lose all the time? And I was like,
because when they
Cause,
win, at some point,
look
they'll
at
be
me.
great.
I'm amazing.
It builds
because of
character.
it.
Yeah.
Also, and I don't like the people who are, because I think we talked about this in a group chat before, Greg, of like, we were talking about UCLA, and you were saying when UCLA was the underdog
Against Gonzaga.
and you were like, UCLA can't be an underdog because they got too much. And it's just like, I met Laker fans that moved here in 2014,
Yeah.
and they're like, yeah, man, I just started rooting for the Lakers, man. They were the underdog at that time. I go,
no
they
such
can't. It's no such. I don't care if they went 0-82.
Yankees can't be underdogs.
Yeah, there are
Yeah,
certain franchises
agreed.
that can't be underdogs.
Like
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah.
Gonzaga was a 1
Cowboys
seed.
can't be underdogs.
Nope.
Never.
And UCLA was like an 8, but I'm like, UCLA has the most titles of any school, and
Yeah.
Gonzaga's like 3,000 Jesuit kids in
Yeah.
the woods in Washington. Like,
Correct.
they're the underdog.
Forever the underdog in that matchup.
But the city did get what I think is one of the best and coolest championships
We
of
did.
my lifetime. The
Yeah.
2016 ring for the Cavs was like, I feel like if you'd have scripted that LeBron loses and goes away and then comes back.
And then we're down 3-1 to the best team in the league.
one of
Yeah.
the biggest
Best
dynasties.
teams in history.
Yeah,
Yeah.
arguably. Yeah, truly by
Yeah.
regular
Yeah.
season record,
Yeah.
the best team in history.
Right.
That was awesome.
For me, but I think for a lot of people, on Father's Day. So my dad died before any of the teams won. And so like my sister and I were watching. And it was so emotional because they
Yeah.
won Game 7 on Father's Day.
Oh wow!
Pretty cool.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I just remember I was
Pretty
house
cool.
sitting for someone in Brentwood who had like a pool and a little basketball court. It was awesome. And like I was so hyped up by the Kyrie shot and the
Oh,
the
man.
unbelievable, like that Kevin Love
They just
locked up Curry on the perimeter at
They
the
just
end.
went out there and peed in the
I
pool.
just had to go out there and piss in that pool.
Turn the whole thing purple because they had that solution in it.
I'm doing like 360 between the leg piss.
To bring it back to football,
Okay.
actually, I did notice maybe a potential kind of like new teammates, not really maybe enjoying each other. I saw a couple of interviews where they were talking to both Caleb Williams and Roma Dunze,
Oh yeah,
and there's a little Roma Dunze being like, mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wasn't the whole thing that they wound
Right,
up on the
man.
same plane and everyone was like, they're on the same plane to Detroit, they're buddies already, but oh no, what? So you think Odunze's not into it, huh?
I don't know if he's like, oh.
Caleb does feel like he comes on a little strong.
Wasn't he also his dad is like a stage dad basically?
Is
Right?
he?
Caleb Williams.
Or wasn't
Yeah.
his dad like going out saying like he won't play for certain if like this team gets the number 1 pick, we'll just go back to USC.
That is
and,
what
Oh,
you get
yeah.
for naming your kid Caleb. That's
Yeah.
like setting up. It feels like a.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
I don't know. It feels like a
that's the name of a
dadager.
stage dad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a name a stage dad would give his son.
This is my son, Caleb.
Yeah.
Shots fired at biblical fathers.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should name him Meshach.
Enoch. These are my sons, Enoch and Enosh.
Yeah.
You know what always cracks me up? You got Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, right? You know the next person in the Bible's name? Cain and Abel kill each other or whatever. They have another son, Seth.
Seth.
And then not
just,
another-
Just
not-
a guy?
Not another Seth until like 1970.
Not another Seth until Seth Green.
Yeah, and then suddenly it's roaring back. But when I read the Bible, I was like, what? That's crazy.
Seth.
is the
Seth?
5th person on earth.
Also, you read the Bible. Like, congrats.
I was in church a lot, and you got to kill
Yeah.
time.
You read the full Bible?
No.
Oh.
But I got to
Just
Seth.
enough to
I
get
got-
to Seth.
I got to
yeah.
the 5th. The beginning is a lot of just naming people. And like of the first like 10
Or like
people.
the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Or like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But like of the first 10 people, like 2 of them are Enoch and 1 is Enosh.
Yeah.
They were really struggling to come up with names. This is a football podcast.
This is a football podcast.
Let's
Okay.
talk some draft.
Talk draft.
Should we talk draft or should we do Mount Rushmore?
Oh, let's do the
first?
Mount Rushmore real quick.
What's
I didn't
that?
tell you about this.
Okay.
But we usually try to talk about for your team who would be on the Mount Rushmore of your team. So we might try and guess some
Okay.
people, and then we'll let you give
And-
the definitive answer.
And is this
Whole era,
of all time?
all time,
All-time
time.
players.
And how many, like, because 4?
four
Four.
Mount
Okay.
Rushmore. But
Four.
then we do what we call the Chernobyl Mount
Yeah.
Rushmore, where it grows a couple extra heads.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though that's more of a 3 Mile Island thing than a
Okay.
Chernobyl thing, but
That's
whatever.
okay. All right.
So,
So-
we'll go first.
There's
and then
one clear one.
Obvious,
Yeah.
clear cut.
Spurgeon win.
Re-
Yeah.
Cleo Lemon.
Yeah, the guy that's got the jersey with all the quarterback last names on
He
it.
is actually on Mount
He's on the
Rushmore
Mount
for sure.
Rushmore.
That
Right.
guy rules.
Uh,
No, Jim Brown is
Jim Brown.
Jim
one.
Brown.
And
You got
And-
that right.
Otto Graham, you said?
was like the quarterback of those days, right? But I don't,
Yeah.
He
I don't
doesn't really
think of
stick in
him.
people's
yeah.
No.
because then you have Kozar.
Sticks
I
in my
think-
craw more than anything.
I think you have Kozar.
Kozar?
Kozar. I
Is
don't know if
Miles-
he's in my Mount Rushmore.
Miles Garrett?
I think Miles Garrett is.
Yes,
getting
Miles
it.
Garrett is.
Miles
in
Miles
my
Garrett.
Garrett.
Rushmore.
I can't.
And
think
now,
of-
is it Cleveland players? We're Cleveland specific, we're saying.
Browns.
Cleveland
Browns.
Browns
Okay.
guys.
So I think of anyone since they came back, the only other person who I think would be close to Miles would be
Joe
Chubb or
Thomas.
Joe Thomas.
Joe Thomas is definitely.
Yeah.
What about, what's my man? Well, I guess he didn't play long enough. Josh
Gordon.
Gordon?
Mm,
No, not Josh Gordon.
Josh Groban.
The quarterback / receiver, not
Cribs.
Terrell Pryor.
Cribs.
Yeah, Cribs.
Cribs.
Yeah, he
I
was
loved him
fun.
if he had been around more. He was.
He was
Could've
a
hung around,
quarterback for Kent State too, so he was like a local kid. Weirdly, there's a weird like Kent State quarterback to wide receiver pipeline too, because Julian Edelman played quarterback at Kent
Ah.
State.
Oh,
Weirdly,
really?
Too. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, Cribs. I think for like how much fans liked him would
Yeah.
probably, if you were just going like whose vibes did we like the most, Cribs
Yeah.
would probably be on.
He
there.
was so good.
He
There-
was fun to watch.
There was a guy called Clay Matthews back in the day.
Oh, the
in
Clay
the
Matthews
80s.
Sr.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
he owned like a bunch of car dealerships, but it was also this awesome offensive lineman.
Oh, that reminded me. I
Or
meant to
deep.
say when you talked about the Ohio State Miami game and there was the pass interference call in the end zone. There's a bar in Columbus I remember going 2 years later, and the bathroom wall in the bar is just giant screen printed photo of him, like, and the defenders touching him, and the ball's not there yet. Like, that's how much that still sticks to those. And they won the game. Like, they won, but like people talked about that so
Yeah.
much that some bar was like, "I'm printing this up and putting it on."
Well, let me ask you. So in Columbus, there are more Browns fans than they are Cincinnati, because Cincinnati's right there. Like,
No,
Cleveland's
it's
hot.
pretty equidistant.
Who owns Ohio?
Ohio State
Cleveland.
football.
Ohio State football.
But if
I
but-
think
Browns over Bengals.
okay,
Browns
but
have more fans than Bengals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Browns over
okay.
Bengals by a mile. I would
Gotcha.
say, like, I know the Bengals were fun and there was like Icky Woods and then like recent Bengals, but like Browns own Ohio.
Gotcha.
I think.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say, but like
Like Kentucky owns the Bengals.
Ah, okay.
Shots fired at both.
I know, but don't tell her.
She doesn't listen. She doesn't listen. Yeah, I think the Browns probably, because I grew up slightly closer to Cleveland, I guess, but there were definitely more Browns than Bengals fans. I do have one uncle who, bizarrely enough, is a Browns and Reds fan, and I never really asked him how it happened.
That's
but I guess
interesting.
you grew up in
But
the
the Reds
70s,
were
you're going to be
Pete
a Reds
Rose.
fan.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
different. I would say that's more equal.
Yeah.
But Browns, like all my cousins in Columbus, which is truly in the middle, are Browns.
Like, I don't know a single Cleveland baseball player between, like, Larry Doby and Jim Thome. Like, that's kind of a lost era
yeah.
of Cleveland baseball. Like, who
Sure.
was on the Indians in the 70s? I don't
Nobody
know.
knows.
Cool logo though. That C. That's like
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were going for something.
Yeah.
I thought you were
I
going
thought you were
to-
doing a Chief Wahoo situation.
No.
Oh, can I?
I think that one's cool.
I'll admit to a shameful thing. When I first lived in LA, so this is like 2010, my roommates and I would have like Secret Santa, and I got my roommate who's a big Cleveland baseball fan, and I got him this and didn't really think much of it, but I look back and like tough. It was like a scarf or like a tapestry thing that you would hang that had like the evolution of their logo over the years. So it started in a bad place. I also got burned.
It's like full-bodied, kind of.
No.
It's like a Native American's blood splatter.
Yeah.
He's got a beverage. No. But I also got burned by a Brave. I bought a Braves throwback, like a powder blue, like Hank Aaron powder blue Braves throwback. Awesome. I
Sick.
bought it
That's a sick
online, and I like try not to have anything with even like the tomahawk or obviously any of the old shit. But it came and there was a patch on the shoulder that had the screaming sap. I was like, you gotta be shitting me.
Oh,
I didn't
no.
even think to check the shoulder. And so I'm like going up to the Braves Dodgers playoff game with one
She
sleeve
rolled
rolled up like I'm keeping my cigarettes in prison. And I feel like I'm signaling something to someone in Chavez Ravine that I don't know what. But yeah, I've been burned. All right, so
tough.
Mount Rushmore, you give us
You
your
give us
four.
yours, yeah.
I would say
Spurgeon win.
Jim Brown.
Jim Brown with a bullet.
Yeah. I'm going to say, I know this is Ernest Biner. I know we have the
I was
fumble.
gonna ask
but
you
I
about Ernest Biner
loved
because-
him.
But he fumbled.
He did have the fumble, but I loved him, and it wasn't fair. All that
Okay.
shit they
So
put on
you
him.
are so you're speaking for all the Browns fans with this.
I don't.
So
Oh,
would
God, don't do that. They'll all hate me.
would they not?
Yeah.
You think majority would say no?
Would
to
say
Biner?
no.
Okay, so
I think no. Okay, maybe I'll.
But maybe that's what you're trying to teach your son, right? Is that like
yeah.
this is building character. We're embracing Ernest Biner because
Right.
he's one of us. And
Yeah.
yes, he faltered in a big moment,
Yeah.
but that happens to all of
I know.
us.
Okay, I'm gonna take him off for now.
All right, fuck him,
'cause
man.
fuck that guy. Hearing you say that makes me feel like I could picture my friends being like, "What the fuck are you saying?"
The way I like to put it to people is if they were going to build 4 statues outside the stadium and they put you in charge, but everyone knew it was your call, what would get
Okay.
you? What would you do?
I would
So,
do
Jim
Jim
Brown.
Brown. I would do Myles Garrett. You
Hell
name
yeah.
those. Okay, this is going to be controversial, but I feel like when I peak watched Eric Metcalf gave me some of the
that's a good
best
one. Yeah.
highlights of my life. I love him so
He
much.
was a Falcon for
the
a while
king
too,
of
He was like the kick return
punt
guy,
returner,
like the best kick returner of all time. But
and he
up
gave us
to-
a couple amazing seasons.
Yeah.
So just for me, because
Okay.
I loved him.
Hell yeah.
And then I would probably I think you got to do Bernie. I think you got to do Bernie.
This is what I tried to say in 2016.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
Bernie
Kosar.
Kosar.
Bernie Kosar. Okay.
I think
I think
so.
if you'd have told me that there would be a return specialist and it wasn't Josh Cribbs, I would be surprised. But I do remember loving Metcalf.
It's
Yeah.
like that one's just for me.
Yeah, that's like
That's
for me.
not
You're allowed to have
Steelers,
one.
Legit
You're allowed to have one.
Rushmore. Like
That's Ernie
legit
Mills.
Rushmore. Any other player on that team is more legit.
Because when you're
Rushmore.
young, a wideout or a return man is the coolest person on the team.
Oh yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so. Other
if
than
they're
you.
like busting long returns and like scoring like crazy.
And
Like,
he,
makes
there
him
was like a
feel
year
good.
where he led the league by it was like he had 10 and the next closest person had 2 or something.
Yeah.
He was so fun. It's like any game could change anytime the ball was being kicked to him.
It's like Cribbs though.
It was I know.
Cribbs was rad.
But
Great name
Cribbs
for
might be that, but he didn't play
a
long
kick
enough.
returner.
And I'm just talking about when I was like peak watching.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I also think Cribbs
When I had kids.
had like the last bit of his prime cut off by the changes in the kick return rules. I think he was just like, I feel like that changed when he still had a little juice in him, but then there was so much less kick returning done.
Yeah.
Remember when they changed those rules? I mean, it's impressive that guys like Cordell Patterson have still been able to like put up the numbers after that. But like, I feel like if they had changed that a little bit later, Cribbs might have been up in that mix too.
Yeah.
God, I can't wait for these new rules.
Yeah.
I'm
What
very
is the new
excited.
kick return rule again?
It's like
What is
XFL. Kevin, will you pull up the video
That's fun.
showing us the new
fun?
kick
Yeah.
return
That's
rule?
fun.
They're gonna bring out He Hate Me to run the first one back.
Yeah.
What's his name? Rod Smart.
Rod Smart, yeah.
He hate me.
But
Tommy Maddox.
now you get
MVP.
sort of penalized in a sense for
Just new NFL kickoffs.
touchbacks.
Oh yeah, you're not.
I like that.
So it's like trying to coffin corner like a punter would. Like you want it to land close
like,
to the goal line, but not over.
You can, I think maybe you can fair catch it between the 1 and 10 yard line or something.
Okay.
And you can get it at the 20. If it goes into the end zone, if it's a touchback, you get the ball at the 35.
Oh, I like that.
Ooh,
Let's
I
spicy.
like
The
that.
new norm.
When are they gonna do the
Let's
fourth?
watch that fourth one.
When are they gonna do the 4th and 15 onside kick thing too?
All right, quick video explaining the NFL's new
Grab
kickoff
that.
format with the goal
Oh.
being more safety, but also more
exciting.
returns.
We're
The
going to the multimedia presentation.
XFL format here.
What do
So
we got?
kickoff still from the 35. Kicker is still over here. Big change is the alignment. These X's, the blue X's, are the kicking team's defenders, if you want to call them that, and then the return team's blockers, both on the returning team's side of the field. So all the way on the opponent's 40-yard line for the kicking team, and then just 5 yards away are the blockers. Now, the kicker, once the ball is kicked, cannot cross the 50-yard line until the ball is either touched by the receiving team or if it lands in the landing zone, which we'll talk about in a second. So the kicker would be
Don't want that kicker to
offsides
get a
if he
head
goes
start.
past the 50 before the ball
This
lands or is in
they
play.
put so much thought
The
into this.
kicking team's defenders, they cannot advance until the ball lands in the landing zone or is grabbed by the returning player, and that's when the play kind of starts here. So the goal is that you don't have these guys running full speed for 30 yards and then crashing into each other.
Right.
Now, once the ball is kicked, if the ball lands, the landing zone is where the kicker is trying to kick it, because if the ball lands short of the landing zone, right, in this area, it goes to, or out of bounds, it goes to the 40-yard line, right? It's technically
Wow.
a penalty. And if it goes in the end zone on the fly, it's a touchback all the way to the 35. So it really is incentivizing the kicking team to get it into the landing zone. Now, once it's in the landing zone, if it lands there and the opposing team is not touching it, it's a live ball. All right. So basically, you want to hit it in the landing zone, because if you're short of the landing zone, it's to the 40. If it's out of the back of the end zone, it comes back to the 35, with one caveat being if the ball lands in the landing zone and then bounces into the end zone and is downed or bounces out of the back of the end zone, then it comes back to only the 20. So that kind of motivates the team to not,
Let it
to
bounce.
once it lands in the landing zone, to kind of pick it up. All right. So basically, the goal is more kickoff returns, but less, catastrophic collisions. Also, the onside kick rules have changed. You can't do a surprise onside kick. You have
That
to
sucks.
announce an
That's the worst
onside
part.
kick, and you can only do that now if you're trailing in the fourth quarter. So there it is, new kickoff rules.
This feels like
People seem to hate
Congress,
it, but
where they have like a pretty good bill that you like, and then they tack one shitty thing on at the end. Like, also, we're going to make onside
Yeah.
kicks even harder and even more impossible.
Yeah.
And you got to tell the other team.
That's
Yeah.
so
That's
y'all, we
like
about
the
to do
give they
this.
had to get all the other things passed.
Yeah.
Hey y'all, we about to do an onside kick. So
right.
do whatever y'all
Come
need
on
to do.
out.
Get your affairs in order.
They have to do like an onside kick dance.
Yeah.
The signal.
I'm sorry.
You have to declare play action if
Yeah.
you're going to use this.
Yeah.
It's a cheap trick.
We're doing a flea flicker.
Oh,
Don't want to
man.
fool you too bad.
Yeah.
Hopefully, eventually, we lead to doing just doing a 4th and 20 for onside kick.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Where you
Yeah.
just have to pick. You have one play to pick up like 20 yards, and then you get to keep the ball.
That's
And would it
fun.
start on like your
More
own
exciting.
20, and then you just like if you score a touchdown on that play, you get the touchdown, right? Or did you?
I think you just convert the thing.
I think you should start 20 yards behind where you would get the ball, and then wherever you land, you just go from there.
Wow.
Oh,
That's my pitch. But
That's a good pitch.
I don't know anything.
Interesting.
call the commissioner.
No, I like that. Let the rules committee know Greg has a good idea.
Great. So we landed on Miles, Jim Brown,
Eric
Metcalf, and who was the last one?
Bernie Kosar.
Bernie Kosar.
Bernie Kosar.
Metcalf's not a
And
cool
we
pick,
you took Ernest Biner out.
Yeah, and
So
Clay
he can be,
Matthews,
but he
who I
can.
love.
They can be your.
They can be on Chernobyl.
Yeah. There's
Chernobyls.
others. If I went back and really thought about it, I'll be like, damn it, why didn't I? I'll think later tonight. I'll
It'll haunt you. Yeah, a lot of our guests have gone insane
Yeah.
afterwards.
I
and been
feel like I'll be like,
Yeah, you're gonna be
I'll be
writing lipstick on your
unwell.
mirror.
yeah.
John Gabris is at Passages Malibu. And he hasn't
Kevin's gonna be
quite
like, you
gotten
guys,
over-
Rachna's at the door. I thought we were done.
and you're like, Kellen Winslow Jr.
Yeah.
It's like the end of The Graduate.
I forgot about Tim Couch.
Oh,
Had to bring
Tim
him up.
Couch, man.
I was gonna ask you about Tim Couch
Oh,
because
God.
that's the Madden
Yeah.
Cleveland quarterback to me. Like,
Yeah.
That's the and you thought Baker might be that, and then he was actually great, and then we did him dirty. Is my humble
Yeah.
opinion.
Is Tim Couch, though, like,
Boring.
more boring, but like in a bad situation, like good player, bad situation was kind of what I read, that like maybe some
Yeah,
of his
maybe.
stats like weren't
I think
terrible,
so.
but
I mean,
like
Yeah.
bad offensive line, bad
Yeah.
weapons.
I think that was when I was a young man and learned. That was like the example where I learned the whole idea of like, you can't just throw a quarterback in on a bad team.
Yeah.
Like I think that was like
They
the
had to be in
first
a good
time that
system.
hit home of like, yeah, you need a little bit of infrastructure before you
Yeah.
throw them
Yeah.
to the wolves.
And that was like early. We're an expansion team again, figuring it out again. Like it was
Yeah.
tough,
Yeah,
not ideal.
I think
Is
you
it
should
Butch
throw.
Davis? Was that the coach?
that's the coach.
yeah.
Butch Davis.
Oof.
Who also coached Miami, I think.
Yeah,
too,
he did.
Do you remember the Cleveland Browns jerseys that looked like they would be in a movie where the team is like, this is the Cleveland football team, where they had like Cleveland like really tiny right here, like we're changing
Fanatic.
the jerseys, and they look like, oh, this is what like the Cleveland team in any given Sunday would wear.
They're going up against the Sharks.
Yeah.
The Miami Sharks.
The Cleveland Admirals. Okay, how did Cleveland do in the draft? Who did they take? Did they have a first round pick?
They did not.
They don't
They
have,
didn't.
they don't even have a
They
second
They
round
traded
pick.
out.
They had a second, so their
Yeah.
first pick. They were the last team to pick, so they picked, I think, at like 54. And I thought they actually
They got a DL, like a defensive lineman
Yeah.
that people like.
They got a DL guy.
A
Yeah.
DL.
He's on the
He's
DL.
on the
He's
DL.
down
As
low
soon as
brother.
I said DL, I was like, that's.
They got a down low brother.
I just, but I can't remember. Michael something?
Sam.
Sam. His
Boy, that fell right into your lap.
Michael,
Michael Hall Jr.,
Oh.
Ohio State
Oh,
guy.
right.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was. I
Yes.
don't know if we talked
people
about it.
were excited about him.
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about it
He's,
on the pod with James last week, but he was one of
James-
James's like our Foosballs podcast draft consultant. Was like one of his big sleeper picks for later.
He loved Michael Hall.
I used to be very into college football, and that's the one that's fallen off more than the NFL. So
Same. I'm a kind of a
Draft
fair weather
is-
college football.
I was like,
fan.
I know Marvis Harrison Jr.
I didn't watch enough
got
regular
picked
season
early,
this year.
yes?
He got picked fourth.
He would get picked fourth. Yeah, I didn't watch enough regular college football.
Yeah.
Regular season, but I did watch. Of course, I watched all the Colorado.
Look, we all
today.
fell for Colorado
Yeah.
Fever, man.
Yeah.
And I had a great time.
I had a great time.
It was a good run.
So
Yeah,
Marvin
that's-
Harrison Jr. went fourth, as we said. But did Frank Gore Jr. get picked, or was he?
He's
not?
undrafted.
He's
That's
undrafted.
right.
He signed with the Bills.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, he signed with the Bills.
Gore was there. I mean,
Uh,
Gore was on half the teams in the NFL at one point, I
Yeah.
guess. But he was a Bill.
Jeremiah Trotter got drafted by the Eagles, so went to play where his dad played.
That's
Oh, right.
fun.
Yeah.
That was some of the more notable.
I mean, the big story of this draft was quarterbacks went early and often, and we bag on Atlanta a lot last year, but I think we're going to be doing it again.
Oh
this
my
year.
God! That was the one I was like, no.
Who'd they take?
What?
They took Michael Penix Jr.,
Penix.
a guy I like,
Yeah.
But
but they took him.
were they like, we're going to sell a lot of jerseys because that's a funny last name?
Oh,
I mean, that's
Guys,
big.
is it a Gamecock situation?
yeah,
might
it
be.
might be Penix.
Okay, so
Yeah, I mean, we all have to start agreeing to
Penix Jr.
pronounce
Also,
it.
yeah, Penis Jr. is a funny thing
Michael
to
Penis
call a
Jr.
small
Funny.
penis.
It's a funny.
It's a Phoenix Jr.
Yeah,
I
it seems like a funny
Yeah.
situation.
is that like the craziest pick since Mitch Trubisky?
Yeah.
crazier than
Oh,
Mitch Trubisky.
You think so?
I mean, Mitch Trubisky was obviously a bad pick, but this, like,
Because this one, no one thought, like, the Bears were like, oh, yeah, you can see them picking a quarterback. Like, I'm sure there were mock drafts that had the Bears taking Mitch Trubisky. Nothing suggesting that the Falcons would go quarterback.
Right.
until like right before in the draft, was it Schefter came on and was like, you guys are going to call me crazy for this. I actually had the sound on, which I don't always have for the draft. But they brought someone out and he was like, y'all are going to think I'm crazy for this, but I'm really hearing that the Falcons are interested in Penix Jr. And like, because you're right. Otherwise, like, every part of it is crazy. They just gave a 4-year, $180 million contract to a quarterback to take a guy who's already pretty old. He's like 24.
Yeah.
He has injury. So like, yeah, he's probably not going to have to play right away. Then they came out at one point and said, here's our logic. This is the craziest part to me. Do you know what I'm going to say? The Falcons came out and said, well, here's our logic. We are going to be so good with Kirk Cousins that we're not going to have a pick in the early part of the first round for several years, so we got to take a guy now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this guy's not going to hit the field till he's 28. It's crazy.
That's crazy logic.
I do think that we talk a lot about,
and
like,
also, I got news for you
and
guys.
Players.
No, you aren't.
You're not gonna do that. I think a lot of these GMs have CTE too, and we're not talking about it as much because that is
They're not gonna be that good.
insane.
No,
but like, they also have used top 10 picks on offensive players in 3 straight drafts, and they don't use any of the guys. They use Bijan a little, but like, we talk about how little they use Kyle Pitts, how little they use Drake London, like, and now to spend a top 10 pick on a backup quarterback. And Kirk Cousins, people came out and said, like, Kirk was pretty shocked.
Yeah,
They don't know this is gonna happen.
shocked and upset.
Yeah, well, I mean, if he could feel emotions, he would be really, really upset.
He's gonna have some couple come give him a massage.
He'll be staring extra blank.
I saw a lot of hate towards Jaden in Washington, and I don't think he's gonna be that bad.
No, he went over May, right? That was
Yeah.
it. A lot of people thought that May was best. So number 1 is Kalen Williams to the Bears. Number 2, Washington takes
Jaden
Daniels, who is very good. Won the Heisman Trophy. Had a fantastic year. Some people think he's a little undersized and he takes a lot of hits. We watched him get lit up last week. But like, did you see? So then Drake May goes 3rd to the Patriots. Did you see the video of the guy scrolling through who Drake May follows?
Oh, all the white quarterbacks?
He names every white quarterback all the way down to like obscure white backup quarterbacks. He follows every single one of them.
Drake
Then
May
he'll go like, he'll type in like Lamar, 0 results.
0 results. Yeah.
Patrick M, 0 results. He so someone's just like, oh, he'll do fine in Boston.
Yeah.
He'll fit right in Boston. And I was like, people are finding new ways. It's like digging up old posts isn't enough anymore. We got to be like looking at likes and follows and everything.
Quick little aside. Just last night, I was scrolling through Instagram and, just on the little reels, and I came across like this page. It's like only the creepiest vids or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was like just some sort of like scary, like
Creepy
caught on
.org
camera
or
sort
one
of
of
thing.
those?
Yeah.
And I looked down and it said followed by Tony Gonzalez.
He loves creepy vids.
Yeah, and I was like sitting there, I was like, oh, I feel like a little kinship here. Like we're both kind of like watching this dumb thing dumbly
Me and
together.
Tony.
You're like a soldier at war wondering if his fiance is looking at the same moon.
Yeah.
It's you and Tony Gonzalez looking at creepy
Only the
videos.
creepiest vids.
So then the Vikings they get to kind of mostly just stand by. They move up maybe one pick. They get J.J. McCarthy.
Okay.
And everyone thought they were going to have to give up everything to go up to like 4 or 5 to get him. So it works out well for them.
It was
And then
kind of crazy because then they moved up to get Dallas Turner, which great player, good pick, but then they gave up a ton to move up to get him. Like they didn't pick again then until like the 4th or 5th round.
Yeah, it was. I mean, when I say that quarterbacks were valued more than ever before, offense too. So I think the longest the draft had ever gone without a defensive player drafted was 7 picks, and this year it went 14 picks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Until who got Latu?
Colts.
The
Colts
Colts got
got
Latu out of UCLA,
Latu.
getting the first or second best defensive player in the
That's
draft.
lucky at
15.
15.
Latu.
Yeah, his name can be used to sing in a curse.
But like creepy.
I thought you were
Vince.
singing that Indian Bollywood song, Natu.
His
to the
name is
tune of
so
Latu,
close to the
Latu.
song from RRR because his name
Yeah,
is like
I thought you were
Layat.
doing the RRR song.
Oh,
If you
no.
change the N's to
forgot
L's,
about
it's
that.
pretty much
Latu,
Natu.
You could
But
do
like-
that too. Next time.
Someone had a great tweet about like, I love that the draft is set up to like balance the league by giving the shitty teams the early picks, and then they go do shitty team things like draft Bo Nix, and all the best defensive players in the draft end up on playoff teams.
Yeah.
It's like exactly what happened. Like playoff teams are snagging Byron Murphy II, Latu, Quinion Mitchell went to the Eagles, right?
And they got Cooper DeJean.
So they got two of the like three
Yeah.
or four best corners in the draft on the
For
Eagles.
one of the best teams in the league.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Steelers had a great draft. I'm thrilled.
Yeah,
Congrats.
We
Steelers
got
did have a nice
Who'd
draft.
you get?
we got a great guy who can probably be a left tackle in
Probably Troy
Fuaga
Fatanu.
from- Oh, sorry. Yeah, I confused.
We got Fuaga. We got
yeah,
You got Fuaga. We got Fatanu.
guys.
We got
About to
Fuaga.
Who are you?
I'm a Saints fan.
Saints, right? You said. And
Yeah.
Chiefs.
And the Chiefs got the fastest wide out in the draft to pair with Mahomes, and everyone was kind of just like, "How did we let that
That's
happen?"
crazy.
I also like the Chargers because they a couple reasons. One, they're the second team in LA.
Yeah.
I haven't been here long enough.
They're the Clippers
They're
of
the Clippers of
yeah.
football, but I hate how people treat them like you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it is a weird organization. But they
It
got
is.
Lad McConkey, White Lightning.
Hola, McConkey.
Oh, wait. So I talked about this with Rachna beforehand that we might play a game where we say someone's name and you guess what position they play. And if we're gonna do it, it should be Lad McConkey. What do you think Lad McConkey plays?
McConkey. Kind of sounds like a tight end. Wait,
That's close.
Close.
tight
Close.
end.
He's a
Yeah.
wide out.
Oh,
Wide receiver.
pretty
Yeah.
close.
You're very close.
What do you
Okay.
picture? What do you picture he looks like? Like what kind of wide receiver?
Like an elf.
yeah, nailed
Brownie
it.
the elf. Yep. You
Or what
kind of
about
nailed
Brock Bowers.
That's why Brock Bowers, defensive end.
Close. Tight end.
it. He was
Tight
tight
end.
end. Yeah.
And he looks like
That is a-
Oh, that's
that
a,
is a
you know what? That
defensive
is a
end
tight
name.
end's name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he looks like the created players on NCAA 2013.
Yeah.
Like remember when Xbox and they all had these like big blockheads?
No,
It's like,
he's like
that
that.
dude doesn't look like me. He
Brock
looks like
Bowers.
that.
That
All right.
sounds right.
So you
Okay.
can do one more.
Okay.
Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Oh,
Spelled exactly like it sounds.
Kool-Aid McKinstry.
The suspense.
Safety.
Close.
I mean, isn't he? Or no, he's
No,
He's a cornerback.
He's a
But defensive back.
Okay.
DB.
Well, you
Yeah,
nailed it. I'm
DB.
going to give you credit for that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
We got him
That's a
too.
good. I feel
Yeah,
like
that's
all like that cornerback safety. They always have the cool names.
Yeah, Clinton Diggs.
I was just going to say, Alabama also gave us Clinton Dix and
All right.
Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Bub Means.
I don't even know.
Defensive tackle.
Plays receiver.
Oh.
I don't even know that
Yeah, who's
guy.
Bub
That-
We
Means?
took him in the 6th round.
Oh,
We always get a good. We got Rashisha. He
that sounds like an
undrafted.
alcoholic cop that Russell Crowe
Yeah.
plays.
That ain't
No, I'm just
Bub
thinking of
Means.
LA Confidential.
Yeah.
He's like Bud something.
Bud something.
So y'all got to steal. What do you feel about that receiver? He's the fastest player ever in the history of the draft.
The
yeah.
guy who ran that 40 at the combine.
They got
Yeah,
him.
got a
What was his
4.21
name again?
Xavier Worthy.
Yes.
Xavier Worthy.
I was not super high on him going into the draft because he's very small. He's like 165 pounds, which is very tiny for a wide receiver. But then I saw that like what I thought we needed the most, why I was a big McConkey guy, is we need just like a great route runner that can win kind of like at all three levels. And Worthy's speed kind of overshadowed the rest of his game, where he's like a pretty great route runner. The only thing is we signed Hollywood Brown, and they're kind of
Similar.
Same thing.
yeah.
That's a super fast wide receiver room.
Good
Yeah.
Lord, though. Yeah. I mean,
There's, yeah, they'll beat people.
Yeah.
A lot.
No, I'm excited for it. I'm
Fun.
stoked on him.
when we did our little mock thing, he fell all the way out of the second round because a lot of people were starting to turn on him. But I feel like the caveat of that was like, well, obviously, if you're a team like the Chiefs, he would work out if you drafted him. Like, he's
Yeah.
going to be fine.
Also, as soon as you become hyped, people will turn on you. To
Yeah.
me, that's
Yeah.
like the third episode of, This
The
Is
Bear?
Us or whatever. No,
Oh, this is.
The
Yeah.
Last of Us.
I see.
Where it was like how quickly it went from like, I love this to be like, fuck that episode. And you're like, whoa, like I didn't even have time to watch it yet. Like, but I feel like I mean, I don't know enough about this, but because he got all that hype from the combine, it probably feels
Yeah,
like
it's
people were
probably- I
looking
think
to be like, I'm not into it.
Teams definitely got like players kind of during the whole process sort of seem to kind of their stock seems to kind of like go up and down.
Yeah.
And his definitely was going up right at the end there.
Yeah.
Who's all the picks? We can talk about our prospective teams' picks. Who y'all get that you like and don't like or don't care?
So my guy that I was really
What draft grade do you give him?
I give the Chiefs an A.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really great draft. The guy that I was most excited for, the guy that like I kind of decided was my guy,
Kingsley.
was Kingsley Suamataya, who I would have been like elated if they got him in the first round, and we got him in the second.
Yeah.
Only had to move up
Nice.
one pick. So I had sent. I think it's in like Greg and James like my list of. Since I've been watching the draft, like I can kind of remember like all the guys that are like, oh, that's the guy I want to get, and maybe like only a handful of times it's happened.
Marcus
and
Peters.
yeah, and so the Kingsley was added to the list, and I'm pretty stoked about it.
Yeah, I felt great about the Steelers. They addressed tackle in the first round. I'm blanking on who was our second round pick, but it was the other thing we needed.
You guys got
Oh, we got Zach Frazier. So I wanted us to double down on the offensive line because our offensive line has been garbage for years. And, like, obviously we've upgraded at quarterback, whether it's Russ or Fields. Either way is better than anyone we've had since the 2 years before Ben
Where
retired.
did pick you get traded to?
Eagles.
Eagles. He's going to
Okay.
be the backup on the Eagles.
Yeah.
So, but, like, we couldn't block the last few years. So I feel like we've added 2 big cornerstones to our offensive line at left tackle and center. And then we had 2 picks in the third round coming up. And James kept saying they're going to take Roman Wilson, my guy from Michigan. I was excited, but then I was reading about this other guy also named Wilson from NC State who was like the fastest linebacker in the
Peyton
draft,
Wilson.
Mhm.
which is something that we've been missing since Ryan Shazier got fucking paralyzed on the field.
Yeah.
And like we need a fast linebacker, even with Patrick Queen coming in. And I was like, I'm happy for Roman Wilson, but I'm going to miss Peyton Wilson. So then we draft Roman Wilson. And then he's still sitting there at our next pick, and we got Peyton Wilson too. So I was like,
That's always
that's
so great.
whatever happens after that, I was like, house money. Our first 4 picks, I really liked. So
Yeah.
I love Roman Wilson. I think that's a great pick for you guys.
Yeah.
What grade do you give him?
I give him an A.
Yeah.
I give him an A.
All right.
We're gonna be week 3. We're about to be. we were like, these guys are fucking bums.
Yeah, D-.
We fucked up our draft
Can't
again.
believe
I
it.
said it at the time. I said it
Yeah.
at the time.
There's no evidence I didn't.
So, of course, we went with Talise Fuaga in the first round, who I think is going to be a generational talent on the O-line.
Yeah.
He's very good.
Yep.
Right? I mean, he was the best O-line prospect coming out. Well, even though, or there was maybe
Alt or Fashanu, but he was in the top tier.
Fashanu. People had doubts about him,
Yeah.
but
If he'd come out last year, he would have been gone higher because he was coming off a better season.
Yeah.
So he was kind of still riding off those 2022 vibes.
I loved how his mom was boxing out his white girlfriend.
That was great.
It's
That did
always
the rounds
funny.
on
Every
Twitter.
year.
Well, I saw someone just tweet like it's NBA draft day, and it was the picture of Daniel Kaluuya in Get Out sitting on the couch with her arm around
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
And someone was just like, "It's draft day again." I was
Yeah.
like, oh god.
And of course, in second round, we took Kool-Aid McKinstry, which is very exciting. But the thing about that scares me is that a sign of Marshawn Lattimore leaving? I hope
They're
not.
gonna I mean,
At some
they got to
point,
get
he's
rid of
gotta
some
go.
money there.
I mean, we got rid of Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of fucking
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr. Get his ass out of here. Well, we probably gonna have to lose Marshawn, so we might have gotten his replacement in Kool-Aid McKinstry,
He's
which
young.
It's a fun name.
is a
I
fun
mean,
name. Marshawn is so good.
Yeah.
What is it? I always get. He's Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah.
And the running back was Marcus
Marcus.
Lattimore.
Marcus
Oh, I had him
Lattimore, yeah.
flipped in my head.
And then we didn't pick again until the 5th round.
Which I was trying to figure out the math on that. Like, how did that happen? Where'd all the picks go? So they traded up a lot to get McKinstry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and traded up to get Fuaga. We didn't. We stayed at our pick to get Fuaga.
Yeah.
But right before layout 2, we get to 5,
Can't do the dance.
and I'm not even thinking about it. I'm thinking like Spencer Rattler still being there because it's the 5th round. Let's be honest. I'm in San Diego watching in a bar. Like
You're watching
like,
basketball with one eye.
Yeah, and like, oh, the draft. Let's see who we pick. I don't know that guy. Oh, Bub Means. And then,
Oh, cool.
yeah, cool. But I mean, and then the Saints select Spencer Rattler, and I go, we got our quarterback of the future. I am stoked about him because he is good.
He's good. There was a point where people thought he might be the number 1 overall pick one day.
The relative value of getting Rattler in the 5th versus getting Bo Nix at pick 12 is insane.
Yeah.
So there's always that.
It's just value. Like
anyone you take in the 5th, 6th, 7th, that's it's all windfall if they succeed and like no downside.
It's so good.
And so like the reason like he kind of fell so much, the kind of chorus that sort of was going around was because of the Netflix
chorus.
show.
QB1.
So he was kind of being stuff he was saying and doing when he was 16 years old was sort of being held against him now at age 22, 23.
Nice.
Yeah.
He looks like who's going to play Pat Mahomes in the Taylor Swift doc.
Oh, I like that.
Taylor Swift biopic.
I love that.
Yeah.
What a look.
He looks just like that guy.
Guys, it should be Hanford Dixon on my Rushmore. Sorry.
Who's that? I don't even know.
He
who.
was, and I'm like,
I thought you were naming an actor you wanted to play Patrick Mahomes.
Sorry.
I don't know.
It's just, I've been sitting on it.
Okay, tell us about Hanford Dixon.
Okay, so he was in the secondary, and I have super dementia, so I can't remember. There was 2 guys. It was him and another guy, and they were like they would always run into the dog pound. Like they're like who the dog pound's named after, kind of. They're not who the dog pound's named after, but they were like core.
Yeah.
They were the guys.
They were the guys.
Okay.
They
Never
were the
heard this
dogs.
name
What years
before.
it is? What years?
Hanford
This is 80s?
Dixon, 80s,
80s?
late
Right.
80s.
Okay.
Guys,
I was gonna tell.
what if you look it up and you're like, it's a totally different. I'm
They say
40,
this Hanford Dixon
I'm about
fellow
to turn
died
47.
in.
I have 2 children, and my brain. Look him up, and then
It just looks like you and a mustache. You've been Hanford
Look him
Dixon the
up.
whole time.
He went to Southern Miss.
Was
House
he
with
even
Brett
on the
Favre,
Browns? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah,
would
he was on
not
the
think of
Browns.
his name if he wasn't on the Browns. He was in the secondary, right?
Yeah, made the
Right.
Pro Bowl 3 times.
Yes.
3
Yeah,
years
so
in a
he's
row.
good.
And then
86,
there was
88.
there was like another guy in the secondary with him, and they were like,
Frank Minifield.
yes, there was Frank Minifield, but that's not him thinking. But they would like
Jump up and Lambo
they'd be the
leap
guys
and-
who would get the dog pound like
He
going.
is also credited with naming the Cleveland Browns Dog Pound.
Great.
Oh, there you go. Wow. See, you don't have to mention.
Guys, I got nervous, but he feels like he should be on the Mount Rushmore.
If you come up with the name,
Yes.
Yeah,
Dog
yeah.
Pound, like
Great.
that's the
Guys, I feel better.
you are vindicated.
I was
Great.
gonna tell you
That's who it should be, not Eric Metcalf. Okay.
we had a family friend who was like our pastor who moved from the Philly area, and then all my parents worked at the church and everything. He became a close family friend. He was a diehard Eagles fan, and so the Eagles came to play the Browns, and my dad was like, "I'll get us a ticket," and like it was like a gift or something for him.
Right.
And I don't think I wasn't there. The 2 of them went, and my dad loves Ohio State football, doesn't care about the NFL at all,
Right.
and inadvertently bought tickets in the dog pound.
Oh my god.
So this
For
guy
his
Tom
friend
is-
in Eagles?
so his in like a McNabb jersey.
Oh no.
And then like my dad, he's like neutral. He's just wearing like Jim Beam brand stuff because that's his team.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, is bourbon.
Sure.
And like,
Same.
but they're
I
like
get it.
yelling. They're like obviously like going hard at this guy because he had the audacity. He comes
Yeah.
in the dog pound in a
In a-
McNabb
yeah.
jersey. But also, like, he's trying to
As
like
an
pull
Eagles
out
fan.
his like pastor collar and be like, "Take it easy on me, guys.
I'm innocent.
I'm a man of the cloth."
Yeah.
Well,
That's like one thing I've never done is sat in the dog pound, which I would like to do in my
I'll
life.
do it.
Yeah,
Take
little-
Eli, take the son, take the
Yeah.
boy. Show him what
I
his show him his ancestral
I had-
homeland.
I had tickets at SoFi to see the Browns a couple years ago, I think against the Chargers, and it was a fun game. And I was like, Eli, you want to go with me? And he was like, no.
Uh-huh.
And so I went with my sister.
But he likes hoops, right? He likes basketball more. Or you took Rocky?
He'll watch with me.
Okay.
They'll watch. It's
Yeah.
sort of like I felt like the way I was gonna be a good mom is I was gonna be a good sports mom, and neither of my kids give
Just
a shit.
not into it at all.
How it
It's such
goes.
a bummer.
I just
okay.
found out recently through sad circumstances that my neighbor's dad played for the Browns and
Oh.
he passed away last year. His name is Harry Holt.
Oh.
You know that name?
I don't, but
Yeah.
That's cool
My
as
neighbor's
hell.
dad. Yeah, I found it out on Instagram where
Oh.
she's like, the funeral services will be held.
Oh.
And I looked at the obituary and
He had played
a
for the
Browns
Browns.
jersey.
Whoa.
I was like,
That's so
snap, shit,
cool.
That's cool.
That's
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming
Thanks
on
for
the show.
having me.
Yeah.
I wasn't that useful in a draft conversation.
Oh,
you
no.
were
I
I
useful in
do
other
feel
ways.
like I will sleep better having pulled out Hanford
Yes.
Dixon
Oh, you
without
won't go
having looked at my
crazy.
phone.
You won't go to
Yeah.
Passages Malibu.
Well, I knew as soon as it said Eric Metcalf, that feels like shitting the bed.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
That's a fun answer.
That was a fun
You can
poll.
say what you want to say.
But
it's not real. We're not
I feel
actually going to
better
build the
about-
mountain.
Yeah,
We're-
we're like
We are gonna
free
blow up
speech
a mountain.
absolutists.
Yeah.
And carve
It's
Eric
just when
Metcalf's
you're-
face into it.
I'm
It's just
sticking to Spring and
Tell
Win.
the guy, Hanford Dixon, not Eric Metcalf.
Is there anything you want to plug? I'll plug Hall of Shame if you don't, because you do have some
Oh.
great football. You did an episode of
Thanks.
On the Browns called The Factory of Sadness, which is a great name.
That's a great name.
But,
Which is what they call
yeah.
Cleveland, the Cleveland Brown Stadium. I think.
The factory. of
It's-
sadness.
It wasn't
fair.
our clever name.
and those are all on Spotify, right? You can still
yeah,
listen to those
you
episodes.
can. I think so.
Some football,
I
some
haven't-
non-football
Yeah,
ones. They're
it's all
fun.
different sports.
It's different
I was
events, like
sad
the
when we
10-cent beer
died.
night in Cleveland.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
legendary.
Oh, I remember when
Yeah.
I was a kid, there was the big Cleveland one with the bottle throwing game.
Yes. No, we have that one.
You have that
too.
as an episode too?
Because
Perfect.
Rachel's also a Browns fan.
Mm. She's from Canada, right?
Yeah, but so
She
she
did the test.
but that's who she picked when she started to get to know the NFL. She picked the Browns, so
Oh,
I give her
poor-
credit.
yeah.
I know.
Poor soul.
I know.
I mean,
Well, we made Drew do the test to pick a team. Our friend Drew, who's from India,
Oh
Uh-huh.
yeah.
and we made him do the test, and the Browns came up for him too.
I do
Interesting.
think people, if you're like lost a little, they're good.
it's like so. It's
Salad.
just like the Sorting Hat sort
Yeah.
of thing, where
Yeah. What is the test? What are you talking about?
It's NFL. It's like, are you trying to get into the NFL? You want to be a fan of it? I think they don't put every team on there.
Right.
I think it's like,
They're not trying to funnel anyone to the Cowboys. Like,
yeah.
No.
Well, no, they do put people on the Cowboys.
God.
They put people. They Cowboys, like the most popular
So it's like
franchises.
Slytherin.
like Cowboys, Patriots.
the Browns do have like
Jacksonville,
one of the
and-
biggest. It's called the Browns backers, like one of the biggest outside of Cleveland fan.
Do y'all play games in Europe at all?
I don't think we have. Maybe once
think
in
they
London,
have. I
I
actually,
think
at Wembley.
they're really trying to push Browns over there.
yeah.
They're trying to push Jacksonville. I know. They're
Yeah,
going
they're really
all
trying to
those
push
games.
Jacksonville.
all the,
Growing up, we were like, our teams are like I know it's now the Guardians, as it should be, but our teams are the Indians and the Browns. It felt very, for any brown kid growing up in Cleveland, it felt very like,
Yeah, from
Oh.
Indian heritage.
yeah. My
And the
dad
basketball
always
team
went
was-
to Indians games and went, now the real Indians are here. And that was his dad joke.
And the,
Well, that's-
the Cavs used to be called the Black Guys.
Yeah.
Well,
The
also,
Cleveland
so-
Black Guys.
give it up for your black guys.
Guys. I'd be into
and their big player was like Brad Gudrathi. Well, Brothy's thing was in Cleveland or in Cincinnati was she's Bengali and
Oh,
it's the
the
Cincinnati
Bengals.
Bengals,
Yeah,
so they love
Oh, there
that
you go.
too.
similar.
But is there anything else you want to plug?
No, watch Shrinking? I don't know.
Yes,
Check
great
that
show.
out on Apple.
Yeah.
On
Do you
that.
think you can get Harrison Ford to come on the pod and talk about it?
Oh, I can't imagine, but I'll try. I'll
That's the
ask.
least you can do,
It's
right?
true.
Have him take
It's true.
the test.
Yeah, see what team he likes.
Yeah. I feel like he meets enough people that because I'm not on set all the time, he's probably like, remind me. Like,
Yeah.
not just because he
Also,
meets
you've
so
been
many
smoking
Eighty-
pot for 50 years.
Yeah.
Hey, you
True.
octogenarian
True.
legend. Here, take this
Yeah.
test.
Yeah. I need to ask you.
And then
some
go do a
questions.
podcast
Yeah.
for free.
You know flagrant ones, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Of course.
Well, how would you like to be on their little sister podcast?
I love the boys and Carl.
Now, you mean Sean and Hayes or Greg and Ryan?
Oh, Sean and Hayes.
Yeah. He's specific. He's a big flagrant ones that
Yeah.
hates foosball.
That was the one thing Harrison told me because I did tell him I was coming. but
Oh,
it's
he was like,
just not
will
available.
Sean and Hayes be there?
Sorry.
That's fair. That's fair. I always
Guys,
love Mark
thanks for
Hamill
having
more.
me.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here on Monique Day.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm
Monique
honored.
/ Gamecock
Yeah,
Day.
yeah.
I'm honored.
All right.
We appreciate it. And we'll see you next week right here on Foosball.
That was a Headgum podcast.